Hey guys, how are you today? We're going to go over the top cut breakdown for the TAC regionals that occurred on the 17th of July, which was yesterday for me at the moment. No clue when it was for when you're watching this, but let's just get right into it. This was the Oceanic regionals. So let's get right into it, and I hope you enjoy. Alright, so just for starters, the top cut was a top 8 with 66 players in the event, so it wasn't too many players. However, Australia as a whole doesn't get too many players, but still, all these players went, except for, of course, the winner who went 6-0. All the other players went 5-1, except Carlos, who went 4-1-1. Still incredible results, which you can't take away from them. So in first place, we had Seraphim Zhang, who was playing MECHA FRIEZA. It was a blue-yellow Aegis build. Seraphim Zhang has been on MECHA for a while, playing Aegis specifically for a while, so it's really great to see him finishing and finally getting that first place finish. So congratulations to him, and sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, not great with names. In second place, we had Jake Wheeler on Cell Surge. Cell Surge is a hand destruction deck, and it has been doing really well for a while with not too many players on it, but a lot of players who have been playing it have been placing quite high, so it's definitely a deck to keep your eye out on. In third place, we had Umberto Gargro, probably pronounced that wrong, but he was on Reboot Soul Striker. Then in fourth place, we had myself, MECHA FRIEZA, blue-yellow Aegis build. In fifth place, we had Peter Bokta, playing King Vegeta. He has quite a unique build. Hopefully we'll be able to get him on the channel soon, so you'll be able to see his build. In sixth place, we had Timothy Hayne playing the OG Soul Striker. So not the reboot one, but the OG one, and he was playing a blue-red variant, which was really cool, and I'm going to have a video with him coming out quite soon. In seventh place, we had Carlo. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that last name. He was playing a King Vegeta build as well. And in eighth place, we had Carlos Lu playing Blue Baby. So quite a diverse meta. We didn't see any Dark Broly or King Piccolo, which was really cool. And no Vegex. Vegex isn't really like doing too much in other places in Australia, but in other places, but Australians love Vegex. So it was really cool not to see a Vegex in the top cut. And it was pretty unique not to see a Dark Broly in the top cut. And normally we don't see too many King Piccolos in the top cut. I've made it in the top cut with King Piccolo the last two events, but with me not playing, it doesn't seem like anyone else was picking up the King Piccolo to top with it this event. But let's get right into a bit more of an analysis of each of the decks. So firstly, we had MECHA FRIEZA. Now I'm just going to make my face a little bit smaller so we can see the cards. So MECHA FRIEZA is a deck that's been around for a while, and as most of you will know now, it has been hit with a bit of it's been hit a bit on the ban list, but it'll still be quite good after the ban list. There'll just need to be some changes made. So MECHA FRIEZA, for those of you who don't know, on his Unawakened side, has a permanent when activating a mono yellow extra card, you can take a life to reduce its energy cost by 1 yellow. And then on the Awakened side, when activating a mono yellow extra card with an energy cost of 2 or less, you may just take a life and play it for free. So it's really good to be able to abuse extra cards, and one of the extra cards we abuse is Universe 9 Assemble, which says draw 2. If all your opponent's energy is in rest mode, choose one of your U9 cards in your deck with an energy cost of 2 or less, play it, then shuffle your hand. So it's very, very good. It just free advantage. So for no energy, you can take a life and draw 2, which essentially means you're getting rid of 1 card in hand and adding 3. So you're going +2, and then if all your opponent's energy is tapped, you're getting a battle card that you can swing with, which is another +1. And then if that battle card happens to be a Basil, that's 2 19k swings, which is +1 for each of them, plus it draws. So when you're getting a Basil off a U9 Assemble, you're essentially going like +4 or +5. It was a ridiculous advantage. MECHA FRIEZA leader also draws when it attacks, and when you activate a mono yellow extra card from your hand, you can choose one of your opponent's battle cards, switch it to rest, which means it has a lot of inherent defense on it, because yellow just switches stuff to rest inherently. So being able to just get that a little bit more is really nice. Now, both the MECHA builds in our top cut were blue-yellow, which means they were running the Violent Rush Bojack and the new Zamasu the Eliminator. So Violent Rush Bojack is your Aegis battle card. So Aegis, for those of you who don't know, is a skill where you can discard a blue and a yellow card, or a blue-yellow multicolor card from your hand, and you get an untapped tool for your energy. And Bojack also has a really neat auto. When you activate this card's Aegis skill, you get a draw 1 card. So essentially you get to discard 1 to draw 1 and untap 2 energy, so it's a really, really strong effect. Yellow has a fair few cards that can play in your opponent's turn, for example like Unite Assemble, Vegeta's Final Flash, Raider's Warcry, Bergamo Ferocious Roar, and even the new Zamasu the Eliminator. Now Zamasu the Eliminator is a counterplay, so you play this card, so for 1 blue, 1 yellow, you play this card, and if the battle card being, if the card being played has an energy cost of 4 or less, return it to its owner's hand. Now this is quite important because it means that it can also hit unisons, and it's our first proper unison counterplay which actually bounces the unison, so the unison doesn't stay on the field, which is really, really cool. Then the second order, when this card is played, draw 1 and choose one of your opponent's battle cards and switch it to rest mode. So you can bounce like whatever's being played, and then you can also draw a card so it replaces itself, and you get to switch one of your opponent's energy to rest mode, one of your opponent's battle cards to rest mode, so it's a little bit of extra defense. Now this also has 2 other things which are really important. One, it's indestructible, so you can switch it to rest mode with some of your own skills, or you can swing into like pesky BMSs or small unisons, and you're not going to then lose this card because your opponents can't kill it by swinging into it because it's got indestructible. And then next, it also has a permanent where you can negate its energy exhaust skill if you have another blue-yellow multicolor card in your energy, so it's also a check land. So the blue-yellow build of Mecha Frieza has just a lot going for it, but it also has the fact it can run Beam because we're now charging multicolor energies, so you can run Sensu Beam and can run Hit, Rapid Movement, which means to rival Violent Rush Bojack, you can combo with a hit rather than a Zamasu super combo, which means we can run the Krillin super combo so we can draw a lot more cards. So the blue-yellow build that's been gaining a lot of popularity, mainly from, I think it was Crossworlds and their team, so shout out to Joey and all his amazing videos that he makes. They made a great list that was running Sensu Beans and was just putting beans on dual attackers and pushing for extra damage while drawing just a bunch of cards with U9 and with Krillin, and not really running Chapil or Sorrel and Hop, and just running Basil because Basil got you the most inherent advantage and you don't need that little bit of extra defense from Chapil. So it's a really cool deck. We had 2 on the top card, so that just shows you how nasty of a deck it is. Moving on to the deck that was in second place, which was Cell Surge Hand Destruction. So Cell Surge Hand Destruction has been doing a lot recently. Now, by a lot, I don't mean it's been filling up top cuts. You just see 1 or 2 pop up here and there. While it's not a super heavily played deck, the players who know how to pilot it and pilot it well do end up doing extremely well with it. So the premise of the deck is it just destroys your opponent's hand. Ribrianne Punishing Passion will discard 2 from your hand. And then Dark Broly Overwhelming Evil would discard 1 from both players' hands each turn. And then if you use a Demon God Deborah, it will trigger Dark Broly Unison's auto to discard another card from your opponent's hand. So you essentially, once you get set up, you're discarding like anywhere between like 2 to 6 cards from your opponent's hand per turn, which is a large amount. And then you're also able to clear their board with FRIEZA Charismatic Villain with the second part of Dark Broly's +2 activate main, which KOs one of their battle cards. Then you still have Demigra Unison on the turn that you get rid of it. Android 13. Green in general has a lot of ways to KO battle cards, so it has a lot of board control. And then Cell Perfection Surpass has the activate main, where you can choose one card. You can choose one of your opponent's battle cards, KO it, then choose one of your opponent's card in their hand, place it in their drop, so you get a discard a card and KO one of their battle cards. Or if they have no battle cards in play, you can simply do the other effect, which is until the start of your opponent's next main phase, all battle cards that they will be played in rest mode, which just gives it so much extra defense, such that you have an extra turn to discard all their cards and KO all their battle cards. So it's a really cool deck that does a lot of really good things. It just essentially means your opponent doesn't get to play the game, which is a bit annoying. However, for the opponents of Cell Surge, if you're playing perfectly and you're just discarding cards that like aren't useful for you at the moment and just don't see you immediate net value, you just discard them. You can still play around it and get a bit too many resources for Cell Surge Hand Destruction to deal with. as Seraphim Zhang did over Jake in the finals. Then moving on to Soul Striker. So Soul Striker is currently one of the best generic blue leaders. When this card attacks, you draw 1 and untap 2 of your energy, which means you can play cards offensively, or you can play your Unison on your turn, and you don't lose too much for tapping out, as you still get 2 more energy to either extend more offensively, or you can use those 2 energies defensively. Now, a lot of the main cards in the deck is the Baby Unknown Parasite, which is a 3-drop Unison. The Activate main, which is a +2. So on the turn you play, it's going to be on 5 markers. The +2 will draw you a card, which is really, really nice. It just keeps getting net value, as it's really hard to kill the Baby Unknown Parasite. And then it's got an Activate main, which is it's -5. If your leader is mono blue, choose one of your leaders and it gets 15k double strike for the turn. Until the start of your next turn, you can activate mono blue cards counter skills from your hand by discarding 2 other cards in your hand and discarding them instead of paying the energy cost. So with the +1, you're able to draw a lot of cards, and then with the -5 on the turn you want to win, or a turn you just don't have enough energies defensively and need to do a lot of defense, you can do the -5, and it just gives you a lot of pushing power, which is really important. Then we've got the Rebirth of Justice FRIEZA 100% Overdrive package. So Rebirth of Justice is a blue extra card, which you get to choose a blue battle card with the energy cost of 5 or less in your hand and play it. Then choose one of your opponent's battle cards and return it to its owner's hand. So it's a little bit of board removal, but the main effect is you get to play a battle card like FRIEZA 100% Overdrive. Now, an important thing to note is when you play Rebirth of Justice, you're revealing this card as the source of the skill, which means your opponent then has the counter window 1 to blind counter it. So if you're playing against blue, this is their chance to God Sealing Technique. Now, when you Rebirth of Justice, you generally run 3 cards in your deck, all of which are great Rebirth of Justice cards. There's MECHA, which is a barrier 20k double striker, which has an activate main where your opponent reveals the top card of the deck. If it's a battle card, it gains 5k and dual attack, so it can become a 25k double strike dual attack, which is very, very strong and can push through to your opponent for game quite easily. Then you have a Boonie, which has deflect and free plays 3 different after image tokens, which are 15k power, 0 combo cost, 5k combo power battle card tokens. And a Boonie itself is a 20k with an activate main that can untap an energy if you reveal the top card of your opponent's deck, and it's a battle card. And then finally you have FRIEZA Rebirth of Justice, FRIEZA 100% Overdrive. So when you play Rebirth of Justice, if you're playing against blue and they say no God Sealing Technique, you can then go ahead and either play FRIEZA 100% Overdrive, or you can play MECHA. However, if they God Sealing Technique, you can then go and play a Boonie. Against green, you can assume that they're going to play a charismatic villain, so you can play MECHA. And then against like yellow, you can play a Boonie because it's got deflect, so that means Cold Bloodlust can't hit them. So you have a lot of options, and it's just a very good play because your opponent can't predict what you're going to do when you do this, and they have to respond when you say you're playing Rebirth of Justice, not when you reveal the card. So it's a really nice combo. It allows for aggression, it allows for ball control, and it allows for a little bit of mind games. And in best of one, having that little bit of mind games can push you to the top to do really well in these events. Now moving on to King Vegeta, which was our 5th place deck and our 7th place deck. So King Vegeta is quite a good new red deck that came out in set 13. So King Vegeta, as generically, is either played one or two ways. It's either played extremely aggressively, or it's played a mid-range negging. From my understanding, Peter, our 5th place player in this event, was playing it more towards the aggro, and unfortunately I don't know what the way that the 7th place player was playing the deck. But just being able to force your opponent to take life early with the young invaders makes them go low, and there's a lot of red battle cards that can play themselves for free. For example, you've got Bardock the Resolute, which is a 15k double striker that you can free play. It has unfortunately been hit on the ban list. You have SS Vegeta Switching Gears, which is another one that can free play. You have SSB Vegeta Technique Unchained, which is quite a new card to the deck that Peter put into his deck, because you can activate main to take a life to play a red Saiyan card with 5k power from your deck in rest mode, then use SSB to return it to your hand. to play SSB, then get a 20k swing, then use SSB to return it to your hand. So essentially for 1 life and 1 energy, now this is where hand advantage and knowledge of hand advantage really comes important. So for 1 life and 1 energy, you added 2 cards to your hand, being the Young Invader that you played and the card from your life. So 2 cards in your hand that you didn't have, as well as you got a 20k swing off, which counts for 2 cards in your opponent's hand, or 1 card if they negated. So you got a 3 to 4 card advantage for taking 1 life and 1 energy. In comparison to Uniting Assemble, it's not there with Uniting Assemble, but it's quite similar to Uniting Assemble if you don't have the if your opponent's not tapped out. So Uniting Assemble, if your opponent's not tapped out, you just take a life, and on the Unawakened side, you take a life, you tap an energy, and you draw 2, which means for that 1 card in hand, you have exchanged 3, and it's quite similar for no cards in hand, you've got 2, which so it is quite a similar play there. However, this way you also get a battle card which swings, which is 2 extra cards, which is really nice. So yeah, King Vegeta, it's a very good deck. You can either go quite aggro with it, or you can play more control, because the leader negs 10 when the power of one of your opponent's battle cards is decreased, and then you have negates like Vegeta's Imposing Presence, which just negs. And you got Jiren Unison if you want to neg more, and you have the 5-drop Vegeta as well to neg more. So it's really, really good. A lot of different routes you can take with this deck, which makes it a powerhouse and best of 1, because you don't know which version of the deck your opponent's playing until against like an aggro version, you've just been hit in the face with aggro, or against a mid-range version, they've just kind of controlled your board down, so you don't really have a chance. And it's a really hard one because you have to make that judgment call. You have to either leave those energies open for defense, which means you're behind against the control version, or if you start to set up your board, you're just tapped yourself out against the aggro version. So it's a really, really good powerhouse and best of 1, kind of like Sin Shenron was for a bit there. And then we have OG Soul Striker, which is a blue-red variant of the deck. Now, OG Soul Striker is weaker than the Reboot Soul Striker, except for the fact that the OG Soul Striker can untap 2 blue energy instead of mono blue, which means you can switch red-blue energy to active mode, which is quite important for a Invoker build. Now, just quickly, the OG Invoker doesn't draw a card on its Unawakened side, and doesn't have an alternate Awakened condition like the Reboot. However, it still draws 2 when it's awakened. Its Awakened side is very similar. It doesn't restand the Unison, but it gains 5k power if you have 5 or more energy, which doesn't matter too much, and since it's only in your turn, it doesn't matter too much as you're trying to kill with Catastrophic Blow in this build. Now, SSB Vegeta is your main Invoker card, as it has Invoker and Barrier Deflect, so it's quite hard to remove. So I will be having making a video with Tim with his really unique build, but just to quickly go over it, the generic plan is you want to play Vegeta on turn 3 and awaken, then untap 2, so you have with your leader, so you have 2 energy open defensively. Then you're able to stall with cards like Emperor's Death Beam and Sleepy Boy until turn 5, where you can just go Rival Seeker into the 6-drop. If they counterplay that Rival Seeker, you can swing with your leader, untap 2, play another Rival Seeker into the 6-drop, so you have a lot of potential defense in that sense. Now, it's also important to note that because this is a mono blue leader, you can play Baby Hatch, which adds extra defense. Now, Invoker doesn't normally run a Unison, however, we do have the Raditz Giant Force in this build, just because you can pay 3 energy, then untap 2, so if you don't have any real way to spend your energy on turn 4 in this deck, you can just tap 3 for your Raditz and untap 2 with your leader, as the Raditz can essentially stop 3 attacks. So its plus 0 is you get a draw card, so it replaces itself. Then at the end of your turn, you switch this card to active mode. So you can play Raditz, swing with your leader to untap 2 energy, and then plus 0 on the Raditz to draw a card, swing at a battle card that you want to get rid of that battle card because you swung into it and they either had to combo out of it, which means you get a +1, or you got rid of that battle card. And then it's got blocker, which means when it switches to active mode, you can block with it the turn after. Then a order once per turn when this activates blocker, switch it to active mode, which means you can block again. So essentially can stop 3 attacks, which is quite nice. Anyway, I'll try to get a video up with Tim relatively soon, so you can see this really unique build. And then finally, we have Blue Baby. Now, Blue Baby is a deck that has been quite strong and quite prevalent since set 11. The main card in Blue Baby is, of course, Planet Tuffle, which, if your leader is a Blue Baby card and all of your energy is mono blue, when activating a counter skill of a mono yellow, mono blue card with an energy cost of 5 or less, reduce the energy cost of that card in by 1. So it is quite nice. You're able to play really defensively. Sun Gohan Baby's minion for 2, Vegeta Ready to Rumble for 3, MECHA Orb for 1, which then untaps itself. So it's a lot of free defense in the deck. Now, so Sun Gohan's Baby minion is a floodgate, but it's not a floodgate that you can't swing through. It just nests a little bit of advantage every time your opponent swings. So because it has other cards like Dimension Magic and Revenge Big Bang, your opponent can and you can and will be able to defend after you play Sun Gohan Baby's minion, which means every time your opponent swings, you're gaining that little bit of advantage. It also runs the Majin Buu Assault of the Agents of Destruction Unison, which is an insane blue unison. You play it for 4, and then activate main, you draw 1, untap 1, and switch this card to active mode. So it's a 20k double strike, which means it can clear your opponent's unisons or battle cards. It is a blocker, so it can stop an attack. It has an auto when your opponent attacks with a battle card. You may choose one of their battle cards placed at the bottom of their deck, so it stops 2 attacks guaranteed per turn, which is lovely. So it just helps extra on the defensive end, and it's a very hard unison to clear because it is a 20k double strike. Oh, because it's 20k double strike doesn't really matter. And then if we're looking at the leader, because most of the deck's power is in Planet Tuffle and just the rest of the deck, but the leader itself is quite good. On the unawakened side, it is very generic. You swing with your leader, you draw 1, and then at 4 or less you draw 2 cards to awaken. On the awakened side, when it attacks you draw 1, it has Overlord, which means you can place one of your battle cards with Servant at the bottom of your deck, then draw 1. Sun Gohan's Baby minion has Servant, so when you negate with it, at next turn you get a draw card, which means it replaces itself, so it's extra value. Then it has a really nice activate main, where you look at the top 3 cards of your deck, add up to 1 mono blue card with a counter skill among them to your hand, place the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck in any order, then choose 1 card in your hand and place it at the bottom of your deck. So it means you can search for your Baby Hatch secret rare. It means you can search for other important negates in certain scenarios. However, it is important to note that if you don't see a mono blue card with counter in the top 3 cards, you still have to bottom deck card, so it does strictly go negative in that scenario. However, most of the time, the deck runs so many counters that you will see something. But that is the top cut breakdown, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I tried to make this video a bit more upbeat and quick for you guys, and hopefully I explained each of the decks well. If you made it to this point, please like, comment, subscribe. I really want to hear from you guys and how I can improve and how I can make it more enjoyable for people to watch, as for most of you who know, I am just starting to get into this, and I'm trying to get draw a bit more light to the the Oceanic region, because I think we've got a lot of great players here and we don't get too much, we're not too much in the spotlight. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and I will catch you guys in my next video, which will either be my mecha profile of Probeth or Tim's OG Soul Striker Invoker build. Anyway, have a good one, guys, and I'll catch you next time. See ya.